Good morning, dear students. Today we will study chapter 8, that is cell, structure and function. In this chapter we will study about cell. What is cell? We will study types of organisms based on number of cells. Then we will discuss about shapes and sizes and size of cells. After that we will discuss about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. What is the difference between them? And lastly we will study about the components of cell. So let's start. What is cell? All the living organisms, they are made up of cells. So what is the cell? Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Why cell is called basic structural and functional unit of life? So let's try to understand it. If we take the example of the building, how a building is constructed. Okay. So building is constructed with the help of the bricks. Bricks are assembled so as to form building. Similarly, living organisms, they are made up of the cells. Cell is the smallest unit. It is the smallest structural unit of the life. It will be more clear about this functional, why it is called functional unit and structural unit. It will be more clear when we will discuss about the type of organisms. Robert Hooke discovered cell. So, scientist Robert Hooke, he observed a thin slice of cork under microscope. What is cork? Cork is the part of bark of a tree. So he observed a thin slice of cork under simple microscope. He observed that the cells as the tiny compartments that are separated by the walls. So that's why he gave the name cell. So, and let's discuss about the cell theory. As per the cell theory, all the living organisms, they are made up of cell. So let's try to understand the type of organisms based on number of cells. There are two types of organisms based on number of cells. First is unicellular organisms and second is the multicellular organisms. For example, unicellular organisms, uni means one. So the unicellular organisms means the organisms which are made up of one cell. So such type of organisms are known as unicellular organisms. So we take the examples. Examples are amoeba, paramecium, etc. If we talk about the multicellular organisms, multi means many. So multicellular organisms are the organisms which consists of more than one type of cells, which consist of more than one cells. So here if we talk about the examples like human beings, plants, etc. So if we talk about the multicellular organisms structure, then cells, a group of cells which perform a particular function, they together form tissue. And a group of tissues which perform a specific function, that is known as organ. So a group of tissues performing particular function is known as organ. And a group of organs performing a particular function constitute organ system. There are different organ systems in our body like nervous system, circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive systems, etc. These different organ systems, they constitute individual organisms. If we go back then we'll see that, okay, let's take the example that organism, it is made up of the various organ systems. So if we go back, let's take the example of the respiratory system. Okay, let's take example of any organ system, for example, respiratory system. So the respiratory system, it consists of, it consists of the various organs like nose, trachea, bronchioles, lungs, etc. Okay, so the respiratory system is able to perform its function efficiently if all the organs of the respiratory function, they are performing, if all the organs of the respiratory system, they are performing their function effectively. And if we talk about and organs are able to perform their functions properly because the tissues and the cells, they are performing their functions properly. So if we go back, then we can see that the organism, it is made up of the cells. If no cells, no tissues, no organs, and then no organ systems. So cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So it is clear with this. If we talk about the unicellular, I told unicellular organisms are the organisms that are made up of one cell. So here one cell performs all the functions. One cell performs all the functions like digestion, respiration, excretion, reproduction, etc. So I hope now the difference between the multicellular organism and unicellular organisms, the difference is clear. Now if we talk about the shape of the cells, they can be the cells, they exist in the various types of shapes. Okay, in your book you can see on the page number A98. Here you can see the red blood cells, they are spherical in shape. So on page number A98 you can see the red blood cells, they are spherical in shape. These are the spindle shaped muscle cells. Cells, they exist in the, some cells they exist in spherical shape, some exist in the elongated shape, some exist in the spindle shape, some are branched cells, some are elliptical in shape. So the cells, they exist in the various shapes. If we talk about, and like if we take the example of the amoeba, it is irregular in shape. Okay, so the cell, it can be irregular in shape. If we move on to the next, size of the cell. Mostly cells, they are so small in size that they cannot be seen with the naked eyes. They can be seen with the microscope. If we talk about the smallest cell, if we talk about the smallest cell, then the smallest cell is bacterial cell, whose size is 0.1 to 0.5 micron. If we talk about the largest cell, then it is the cell of the, it is the ostrich egg cell. If we talk about the size, this is 170 mm into 130 mm. If we talk about the largest cell in the human body, then it is ovum. And the longest cell in human body is nerve cell. So you can see the cells, they exist in the various shapes, various sizes. And the size of the cell, it doesn't depend on the size of the organism. The size of the cell, it depends on the function of the cell. Now we will discuss about important components of cell. A cell contains many components. So the components of the cell are known as cell organelles. First we will discuss about the important components of cell. So I am starting with cell wall. Cell wall, it is a thick rigid layer present outside cell membrane of plant cell. Now first we need to understand what is the cell membrane for understanding cell wall. If we talk about the cell, then the thin outer protective covering enclosing the cytoplasm and the other cell organelles. If we talk about the cell, the thin outer protective covering of the cell, okay, it is the outer protective covering of the cell is known as cell membrane. So if we talk about the cell membrane, so this is the thin outer protective covering. As I told, this is the outer covering, so it ensures the protection of the cell because it is the outer boundary, and it also provides the shape to the cell. And first we will discuss about all about cell membrane, then we will talk about cell wall. So, and this cell membrane, it is made up of lipids and proteins. It is living thin outer protective covering. It ensures the protection of cell, it provides the shape to the cell, and it is selectively permeable. Selectively permeable means it allows certain type of materials to go out or to come in. Because it is permeable means to allow the exchange. Okay. And selectively permeable means it doesn't allow all the materials to come in, but it allows certain type of materials to come in and go out of the cell. It is made up of lipids and proteins, and the cell membrane, because of the cell membrane, the contents of the one cell, it is separated from the other cell. Now let's move on to cell wall. What is cell wall? This is thick rigid layer present outside the cell membrane of the plant cell. If we talk about the cell wall, then it is the outer covering. It is the thick rigid covering present outside the cell membrane, and this is present only in plant cell. It is present only in plant cell. But if we talk about the cell membrane, it is present in both animal cell as well as plant cell. But the cell wall, it is present only in the plant cell. It is thick rigid layer present outside the cell membrane. It is non-living in nature. It's very important to note. It is non-living in nature. It is made up of cellulose, calcium pectate, magnesium pectate. And it is non-living in nature. Why this extra layer has been provided in the plant cells? Because we know that plants, they are fixed to one place. They cannot move from one place to another place. So they are exposed to the change in the weather conditions. So this cell wall, it ensures protection of the plant cell against the changes in the temperature, atmospheric moisture, and the high wind speed, etc. So I hope now the cell wall is clear. And it also, number one, it provides the protection, and it also provides the shape to the cell. Now let's move on to the third one, that is cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? As I told, cell membrane is the boundary. Okay. Cytoplasm, it is the jelly-like substance. It is the jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. We know that in all the cells at the center, nucleus is present. So, what is cytoplasm? It is a jelly-like substance present between cell membrane and the nucleus. Different type of cell organelles, their cell holds various types of cell organelles in the cytoplasm. So, the next is the nucleus. Nucleus is the most important component of the living cell. So, if we talk about the nucleus, it is most important component of the cell. It is also known as the control center of the cell because it controls most of the important activities of the cell. Nucleus, it has a double membrane. It is a double membrane layer which is known as nuclear membrane. This double membrane layer known as nuclear membrane, it separates nucleus from the cytoplasm. Next is nucleolus. Nucleolus, it is a small spherical body present inside the cell, present in the center of nucleus. Next is the nucleoplasm. It is a dense fluid-like substance present in the nucleus. So now, after this, as I told that it is considered the control center of cell. Why it is called so? Because it plays an important role in the cell division. We know that new cells, they form from the pre-existing cells by the process of cell division. So the chromosomes, they are found inside the cell, inside the nucleus. Chromosomes, they are present inside the nucleus, and chromosomes, they play an important role during cell division. And the chromosomes, they carry genes, and these genes carry the hereditary information. They are responsible for the transfer of the characteristics from the parents to the offspring. So that's why nucleus is known as the control center of the cell. So I hope till here these important components of the cell are clear. Now after this, we will move on to the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. So let me erase this. Now we'll discuss about the eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. If we talk about eukaryotic cell versus prokaryotic cell. First we will discuss about these cells and then we will talk about the remaining cell organelles. Cell organelles, I told, the components of the cell are known as the cell organelles. We discussed the important one like cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. There are many other cell components that we will study after this. So what is the difference between eukaryotic cell? Now we have understood what is cell, and then what is the difference between the eukaryotic cell and the prokaryotic cell? If we talk about the prokaryotic cell, see, pro means primitive and karyo means nucleus. So in case of prokaryotic cell, there is no well-defined nucleus. Here the nuclear material, it remains. Here nuclear material remains scattered in the cell. It remains scattered in the cell. But in case of the eukaryotic cell, these cells, they have well-defined nucleus. They have well-organized nucleus with nuclear membrane. So here if we talk about the prokaryotic cell, there is no nuclear membrane. There is no nuclear membrane. Then what are the examples of such type of cells? The organisms which carry such type of cells, they are known as prokaryotics, and the organisms that have such type of cell, eukaryotic cells, they are known as eukaryotes. So if we talk about the prokaryotic cells, these are the cells, there is no nuclear membrane. Now you have understood that what is the nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane is the membrane which separates nucleus from the cytoplasm. So in the prokaryotic cell, there is no nuclear membrane, and the nuclear material, it remains scattered in the cell. And in case of the eukaryotic, there is well organized nucleus. Sorry, nucleus will come. In the eukaryotic cell, there is well organized nucleus with the nuclear membrane. And in the eukaryotic cell, most of the cell organelles, they remain present. The cell organelles, they have a well defined, the cell organelles, they are well organized, and they have the they are well organized and they have the membrane. But in case of the prokaryotic cell, most of the cell organelles remain absent. So here you can see in your book. Okay, if we talk about the examples, so the examples of prokaryotes are, I told, the organisms which have prokaryotic cells. So the prokaryotes examples are amoeba, blue-green algae. But here, if we talk about the eukaryotic cells, then the plant cells, animal cells, they are eukaryotic cells. So here in your book, on page number A101, so here the prokaryotic cell, it has been shown. So here we can very clearly see that inside the cell, cytoplasm is here, okay, but the nuclear material, it remains scattered. There is no nuclear membrane. But when we will study about the animal cell and plant cell, after some time I will show you plant cell and animal cell. I will show you that there is a nuclear, there is a well organized nucleus. And the most of the cell organelles, they are well organized. Here most of the cell organelles are absent. Now after this, we will discuss about various types of various other cell organelles. After understanding the difference between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells, plant cells and animal cells are eukaryotic cells. Now we will study about the other cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum. Next is ribosomes. I am writing the name of these cell organelles which we will discuss now. Golgi bodies, or you can say the Golgi apparatus, Golgi bodies, centrosomes, lysosomes. Then we will discuss about plastids. And lastly, we will discuss about vacuoles. So these are the remaining cell organelles. We'll just have a brief idea about this. Then I will show you this animal cell and plant cell. So if we talk about the endoplasmic reticulum, this is, in short we write it ER. So this endoplasmic reticulum, this is a complex network of the tubes and sheets. This is attached to the nucleus, and this endoplasmic reticulum, it is of two types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. So the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic, what is the difference here? On the ribosomes, they remain attached on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and on the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, there are no ribosomes on the surface of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So what is the function of this? The function of the endoplasmic reticulum, you can consider it as the manufacturing unit. It is responsible for the production of proteins and lipids. If we move on to the next, these are the ribosomes. I told you ribosomes, they may be present freely in the cytoplasm, or they may be, and sometimes they are attached on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. As you can see in your book, it has been shown on the page number 102. Here you can see this. In case of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, these dot-like structures, these are ribosomes. Okay, and so this, where the ribosomes are there on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, this is rough endoplasmic reticulum. And where the dots are not there means where the ribosomes are not there, this is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And they help in the transportation of the substances within the cell. If we move on to the ribosomes, I told they may be freely available in the cytoplasm, or they are found attached on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. They are known as the protein factories. Ribosomes are known as the protein factories because they are involved in the protein synthesis. Protein synthesis means because they are involved in the protein formation. Next is the Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies in the animal cells, they are found near the nucleus. The material that is synthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum, that is modified and packaged, and then it is dispatched to the various organelles inside the cell and outside the cell with the help of the Golgi bodies. And they also perform the secretory functions. Next is the centrosomes. Centrosomes are available. These are the rounded body structures. They are available. They are found only in the animal cells, and they play an important function during the cell division. Next are the lysosomes. Lysosomes, these are the cell organelles containing digestive enzymes. Okay, as I told, they contain digestive enzymes. So they digest foreign particles like microbes and the worn out cells or the worn out organelles of the cell. Now the next are the plastids. If we talk about the plastids, then plastids, these cell organelles, they are found only in the plant cell. So here you can see these are colored organelles. They are found only in the plant cell. And if we talk about if we will do the bifurcation, so these are of three types: chloroplast, chromoplast, and the last is the leucoplast. Yes, this is leucoplast. So, chloroplast, if we talk about all these types of plastids, first I am starting with the leucoplast. Leucoplasts, these are the colorless plastids. They help in storing food. If we talk about the chloroplast, these are the green color. These plastids are green in color because of the presence of chlorophyll, and they help in photosynthesis. If we talk about the chromoplast, these plastids, they have other color pigments. They have the other color pigments other than green. So they provide color to the different body parts like fruits, flowers, etc. Next are the vacuoles. Next, which is the last one, that is vacuoles. Vacuoles, they are, if we see the vacuoles in the plant cell, then they are larger in size, and because of the big size of the vacuoles in the plant cell, the nucleus gets shifted on the side of the nucleus. If we talk about the animal cell, then the nucleus, it is found in the center. But if we talk about the plant cell, because of the big size of the vacuole, nucleus is on the periphery of the plant cell. Vacuoles, these are the storage sacs which store salts, sugar, amino acids, organic acids, etc. The outer membrane of the vacuole, it is known as tonoplast, and as I told, they store salt, sugar, amino acids, etc. So dear students, this was all about the cell organelles, or we can say the components of cell. Now I will show you animal cell and plant cell on screen. But before that, I want to discuss about the difference between the animal cell and the plant cell. So in case of plant cell, cell wall is present, but in case of animal cell wall is absent. If we talk about the vacuoles, in case of plant cells, vacuoles, they are larger in size, but in case of animal cell, vacuoles, they may be either absent or very small in size. Centrosomes, they are present in the animal cells and they are absent in the plant cell. If we talk about the plastids are the cell organelles which are present in plant cell but they are absent in the animal cells. If we talk about the Golgi bodies, they are present near the nucleus in case of animal cells. But in case of the plant cells, Golgi bodies, instead of Golgi bodies, they are known as dictosomes. And the last is the animal cell. It is generally small in size as compared to plant cell. So dear students, here the difference between plant cell and animal cell is over. Now I will show you animal cell and plant cell on the screen. So now we will see plant cell and animal cell. As I told, in case of plant cell, cell wall remains present. There are two membrane layers. There are two layers. One is plasma membrane, that is known as the cell membrane, this internal one. and the outer one, this is the cell wall. But in case of animal cell, there is only one covering, that is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the another name for the cell membrane. And I forgot to tell one very important cell organism, that is the mitochondria. Mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. The energy required for all the activities of the cell, it is released by mitochondria in form of the ATP molecules. So mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell. So here you can see these are the mitochondria. This is also mitochondria. So these may be more than one in number. Here also mitochondria you can see here, and this is also the mitochondria. And here you can see this is the nucleus, inside the center there is nucleolus. Here also nucleus, in the center nucleolus. And in case of plant cell, you can see the vacuole is so large in size. These are the Golgi bodies, or you can say the Golgi apparatus. This is slightly near the nucleus, but here you can see the Golgi bodies, these are here. Now in case of vacuole, if we talk about the animal cells, then the centrosomes are found inside the animal cell. That I will show you in the next picture, where it will be more clear. This is the animal cell diagram. You can see the vacuoles, they are smaller, but in case of plant cell it was very big in size. These are the centrosomes. Centrosomes, these are the spherical bodies which are found only in the animal cell, and they play an important role during the cell division. This is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Here you can see the ribosome. These are the dot-like structures, and this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And you can see here ribosomes. They are available on the rough endoplasmic reticulum also, and they are freely available in cytoplasm. And what is cytoplasm? This fluid-like structure, that you can see the fluid-like structure in the cell, or you can say the jelly-like substance in the cell. This is cytoplasm. So this was an overview about the animal cell and the plant cell. So dear students, this is all for chapter cell. Thank you.